Ascending to the Overlook, the Yhaargan walk with determination. Having decimated the Darfari outposts, the Overlook was the final bloody step in their plan of conquest. After hearing the warning horn blast, the Yhaargan was surprised to find the pathway unmanned and undefended. Entering the home of the enemy, it also remained empty, braziers still burning. The Darfari had surely ran, leaving their home to their brutal invaders. Surveying the camp, the Yhaargan tribal chief was overjoyed with the results, a well-stocked behemoth of primitive engineering belonging to him and his people. He relayed this message to his soldiers, declaring a fervent victory over the Darfari, who had scarpered, ran like dogs from the inescapable march of the Yhaargan. As an arrow flies just over the shoulder of the Yhaargan chief, an almighty roar lifts from the Overlook as the Darfari pile out, weapons in hand. Assembling in front of the surprisingly small number of Yhaargan troops, one soldier steps forward to lead the attack against the Darfari. The soldier lays in agony in the grass, an arrow planted firmly in his back from the guard tower above. With his last breaths barely escaping him, he looks up to see a hulking berserker quickly approaching, ready to smash him into the dirt. Emerging from behind the altar, the Darfari tribal chief approaches the tribes, as both groups ready themselves in anticipation. Joining the line, the Yhaargan were outnumbered, a foolish mistake to make. In that moment, a gargantuan fire erupted from the homes behind the Yhaargan. Amongst them, the architect of the Inferno, a crazed Yhaargan flameweaver. As the blaze roared, more Yhaargan fighters sprinted to join their compatriots. The Darfari, having been drawn out of their hiding spot by the seemingly small amount of Yhaargan, now stood at the mercy of a heaving tribe of hostile fighters. Their one advantage, the crossfire of their archer in the tower, was caught off guard and slain by a flanking Yhaargan scout. As the battle began, the maniacal flameweaver threw a fire orb across the Overlook, striking the guard tower and forcing the other archer from her platform to join her tribe mates in the melee below. As the battle began, a mournful light fell across the Overlook, the normally bright sun blacked out by strange clouds blotting out the horror below. The Darfari were horrendously outnumbered, and try as they could, they began to quickly fall beneath the might of the Yhaargan. While some small victories were made, the Darfari that had not yet been slain had little hope of survival. As the light continued to fade across the Overlook, the tribal chiefs prepared to duel once again as they had done many years before. Behind them, the burning embers within the pit of Yhaarg caught a renewed flame under the blackened sun. As an onslaught of lightning gathered overhead, a figure rose from the cursed ashes within the pit. Malformed and draped in blackened hide, the interloper rose and settled upon the edge of the pit, bringing a momentary pause to the slaughter. Reborn in some horrific form, Tella appears before her tribemates and her killers as a vile corpse, revived through likely demonic means. Reaching back into the flames, she draws a sword of ash and cinder, raising it above her head, driving fear into the warring tribes. She steps forth from the flames, all eyes locked on her, transfixed in ungodly terror. Passing the tribal chiefs, Tella stands before the remnants of the Yhaargan and Darfari, each side sweltering in fear. As she looks across the bloodied soldiers, she begins to speak. Announcing the purest words of the Outer Dark, the Yhaargan are drained of their life, enthralled to Tella's side. She leads the emaciated corpses of her killers to the flames, preparing to take them back to whichever vile realm she came from. She takes one last look across her former home, and after stealing a glance at the Darfari chief, she falls backwards into the flames, her tethered corpses following, dissolving once more into nothing but ash. With the remaining Darfari injured and exhausted, the chiefs stand ready, weapons in hand, prepared for a fight to the death. The battle-weary Darfari look on as the chiefs do combat, blades dancing through the air as both dodge and parry attacks from the other. Equally matched and fighting with honour, neither man gives an inch, expertly avoiding every swing that would surely deal a death blow. Avoiding one final strike, the Darfari chief throws his sword aside, launching himself at the Yhaargan chief and forcing him backwards against the scaffolding, pinning him in place. Fearing a blindside strike from his razor-sharp spear, the final remaining Reaver runs in, striking the Yhaargan chief and wrenching his spear from his hands, letting it fall to the soil below. Struggling to fight against the hulking, masked frame, the Darfari chief attempts to reach for his dagger. Waraka's days and nights within his workshop had proved fruitful. Incapable of wielding a sword or drawing a bow, he had managed to craft a bow that did the work for him. A bow whose bolt was now lodged within the eye of the Yhaargan chief. A pool of thick crimson growing around the slumped body. From the stillness of the chest, it was clear that the spark of life had finally left the chieftain. Their home ablaze around them, their family and friends butchered in the grass. The Darfari had succeeded against the Yhaargan, but at what cost?